Whoa, why are we there? So we're live on Facebook here, guys. Hey, bit of a rookie attempt there, but let's go. This is Graham Donnelly coming to you from downtown Brisbane on behalf of Business Today Show, sponsored by Spiritual Events Directory and the lovely Sarah Watkins. And we thank her for letting us participate tonight. Tonight, due to overwhelming interest in our last few shows that Kelly Kingston and myself have presented, we're going to be talking about cryptocurrencies in a bit more detail, but starting with some basics. So we're going to get stuck straight into that. While I do that, I'm going to share my screen because I want to walk through a little presentation that we sometimes use. So I'm going to open up a PowerPoint presentation here, and it's called the Coffee Chat. And the reason it's called the Coffee Chat is because it's often presented in a coffee shop over a cup of coffee, and it's really as simple as that. So tonight, proudly presented to you by Global Crypto College and in conjunction with DAXI, one of Australia's newest and most premier crypto exchanges. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. What we're doing here tonight is we're not selling crypto. We're just giving some information to you so that you can understand a little bit more about what it is and whether it's something that you want to be involved in. So the reason we're excited about crypto is that we believe we're at the beginning of the second growth boom, and it's all about creating wealth. So wealth is paramount to most of us in terms of our long-term financial futures. And we really want to make sure that we take responsibility for building our own wealth and building that financial security and freedom for our future, for ourselves and for our family. So what we want to look at is how the wealth opportunity in crypto compares with the classic wealth creation methods. And the classic wealth creation methods that have been promoted and supported by the financial planning industry and the general public is that you create wealth through investments in shares, property, and cash. And by cash, I don't mean, a box under the bed. I mean cash deposits, term deposits, bank accounts, and things like that. So we just have to be conscious of the fact that where are we going to create wealth for ourselves in the future? So there's a lot of noise and a lot of publications around the fact that the stock market has been increasing literally every year for many years, and it's a cyclical animal. In other words, what I mean, it works in cycles. So it means that at some point in what a lot believe the very near future, the share market will either stop increasing or have a major correction, maybe both. And so is the question we like to ask is, well, are we likely to get the returns on our investments that we have got in the last few years or the last decade in the stock market moving forward? Also, we hear a lot about the market corrections in property, particularly in the major markets in Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne, and that it has a flow-on effect in other states within the country. So property is always very popular with Australians, and I presume it will continue to do so. But are we going to make money by holding property or buying property for the long term? In terms of cash or bank deposits, cash rates are at an all-time low, which means that when you put your money on a term deposit, even with a reasonable amount, you might get 1.5%, not quite 2%. When you take inflation, income tax, and those sort of things into account, you're actually losing money by keeping your money in term deposits. So where do we go? What do we do next? If we're going to succeed by simply using the classic model, then maybe we need to look at somewhere else. So if you support this view, then maybe we need to look somewhere else. So what we need to look at is a new strategy. So one of those strategies is crypto. And we see that there's a boom imminent. We've been through a very volatile space, which we'll come to in a minute. But anyone looking to create financial freedom is starting to be interested in the crypto space, because there are real returns being made, and there is a great opportunity to get involved. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that tonight. So did you know that there's more than 500,000, this is probably a little old, this slide, but 500,000 people or more already involved in crypto in Australia. And the most important thing is that now we're starting to find that the institutions are starting to get involved. So what I mean by the institutions are, you know, your banks and your fund managers and your hedge funds and things like that. And that's on a global scale, not just in Australia. So where does Daxi fit into all this? And Daxi is simply an exchange that, or a platform that has been created to allow people, everyday people, to get involved. It's a simple, easy to use platform that we support, and a lot of our clients have become involved in Daxi because they can hold quality cryptocurrencies in a place where they can understand and they can monitor and they can start to get educated around this crypto space. So we're not suggesting that you should put any or all of your money, for that matter, into crypto, but that you should consider cryptocurrencies as an alternative asset class to the traditional classic methods of gaining wealth. And we need to diversify our investments. So even if you do hold shares, property, and cash, then maybe it's time to start looking at just a small exposure to cryptocurrencies. And this is something that we support and do ourselves. So what we've seen in the crypto space in the past has been a boom, and we had a bust as well. And now we believe we're into stage 2. So most commonly, people started to get interested in crypto around the end of 2017. And you can see the first little line here where it's peaked at a price of 29,000. That's the Bitcoin price back in 2017, about December 2017. Originally, you could have bought Bitcoin for 10 cents. Now that was going back a few years, but not that many years, to be honest. Bitcoin was created first in 2008, and you could have bought, there's the old stories about people buying a pizza with 100 Bitcoins back then, because they were worth literally cents. Now, or back in 2017, the price per Bitcoin rose to 29,000 Aussie, and that was incredible. And that's when most people started talking about it, because it peaked at that sort of price. And there's a thing we refer to in the crypto space or investment markets generally called FOMO, and it's the fear of missing out. And that's really what happened in 2017. The average investor started to get involved because they thought that this thing was going to the moon. They jumped on board. As it turned out, it was the peak of the market, and you'll see literally straight after the peak, then the price per Bitcoin, which is the indicative coin that we use, simply because it's the largest in terms of market capitalization, dropped down to a figure of about 4,000 odd dollars Australian. So those people who invested at 29,000 suddenly saw that their money had literally dropped by about 80%. Now that caused a lot of problems. There was some technical and global reasons for that, but not really the forum to go into that now. But it had to correct. You can see that that graph in leading up to that $29,000 figure on the chart here was literally too vertical, and it had to correct. So it corrected back to where it probably should have been. And now we're finding that we're in the second phase of the boom. Currently, the price sits at a little under about 15,000 today, but has gone as high as 18,000 in that recovery. But it does fluctuate. But right now, that 4,000, if you had bought in then, you still would have made some pretty good gains in a fairly short period of time. So we believe the second boom has already started. And we're finding because of this interest by the institutions that that people are starting to now get re-interested in crypto space, and this is why. We believe that the chart can go considerably higher than where it peaked last time. Not sure how long it's going to take, but we believe it will. It's not going to, that graph is not designed to be there to show you it's going to do this year, but who knows what that figure could be. It could go 71,000 is an estimate that some of the experts have put out there that will be per Bitcoin. So remembering you don't have to own a whole Bitcoin, but you can own a small portion of one. And that's what is really the exciting thing about crypto, is you don't need to have a lot of money to get started and to start to benefit. So the institutional money is what this is all about. So the world's largest institutions, bank funds, stock exchanges, governments, and just about everyone with some serious money to invest are starting to get involved. Also, we've got, as we've spoken about a few times in the last few weeks, we've also got a lot of our major brands in the world getting involved, either by designing or using their cryptocurrencies as a currency to buy and sell their product. People like Amazon, eBay, and Facebook, just to name a few. And there's plenty more that we have mentioned in the last couple of episodes. So a lot of people say, well, that's really interesting. And I kind of get the fact that there's some institutions involved, and, you know, we're not in the Wild West like we used to be back in 2017, 16. So, but what's stopping this wave from crashing again? So if I invest a few dollars into crypto now, what's to say we're not going to have another major correction? And that's a very good question. Basically, there's no sort of guarantees in this game, as with any financial market. But we believe that the interest of the global institutions is what's going to ensure that the line of best fit of this graph is going to be continually increasing, but at probably a more sensible rate than what we saw back in 2016, 17. So it'll still correct, no question, and it bounces around a little bit, but we just need to know that this is somewhere that you need to consider. So the other thing to look at is that it's also very easy for us to buy crypto, and this is something that Daxi have mastered, and one of the reasons why we support them at Global Crypto College and their platform, because you don't need a lot of money to invest, but now's the time to be getting interested. The way we do that is that there's a number of ways that Daxi have created to allow people to get started. The first of those is what we call a bundle, and a bundle is 3 of the blue chip coins: Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, plus the DAC coin, which is their own community-based currency, which I'll talk about in a minute. So it's a diversified portfolio, 3 of the majors, and it's just a nice, easy, simple way to get started in the market. We believe that the institutions are focusing mostly on the blue chips, and so that's why the Daxi bundle makes so much sense to us, because you're just really following the big money in the world, and that's what we're counting on over the next few years. So the other thing is that the Daxi account now is easy to read. It's an Australian exchange, and you can see it in Aussie dollars, which is a little bit unusual in some respects, because there's a lot of wallets and exchanges around that you can't quote in Aussie dollars. So we like to think that this is going to continue, and this is the way you do it. So what you can do is you can start with as little as $100 to open a Daxi account, and we'll talk about another special way in a moment. But for as little as $100 Aussie, you can get started. What we tend to find is that most people average a couple of $1,000s once they get involved and get a bit confident. And there's also now a lot of people investing their superannuation into cryptocurrencies or a portion of that. And we help clients to direct them on how they can actually consider creating their own self-managed super fund, which will allow them to access cryptocurrencies and DAXI. So the other thing that's really important in relation to where you place your cryptocurrency is security. And one of the other things we like about DAXI is that it has an A+ security rating. Now this is one of the highest you can get, and it's independently analyzed and calculated. So we know that they are considerably secure. What that really means, in my humble opinion, is that the ability of the DAXI exchange to be hacked by external forces is as low as it can be. And just to show you, there's other very public exchange platforms that where data is held on the internet, like government departments and so on, that have Ds and Es in this space. So A+ is very important, and another reason why we support DAXI. The other way that you can get involved with DAXI is through what we call the DAC Pack. So the DAC is a community global currency, and it's basically a community coin that will be used initially as the currency of the DAXI economy, which simply means that if you're a DAXI member, you can transact and connect and pay for services and receive payment for services using this DAC coin initially. At some point in the not too distant future, we hope the DAC coin will actually be released and become available on public exchanges, which means that you can then buy and sell the DAC coin or DAC token on an exchange, convert it into other cryptocurrencies and even into Aussie dollars and put it back in your bank account. So another great way of doing that. And we believe that for new players that the bundle is perfectly positioned to accept that, but the DAC Pack is a little bit more risky, however, has a greater potential for growth over the next few years. So it's something else that we really want to look at. The DAC price is basically initially determined by the company, by DAXI themselves, and there are a lot of tokens around that were purchased for fractions of a cent over the last year or two. Currently, it sits at about 3 cents. Great growth in that as well. So because DAXI is growing and the crypto market is growing, then we believe that the DAC token will actually hold its value. And being in communication with the founders and the team at DAXI, we know that the intention is that the DAC token will not be released to the public, for conversion on public exchanges until there is sufficient critical mass to ensure that the price is stable and in fact continues to increase. So some good opportunity there for those who are a little bit more interested or have an intention or a wish to diversify their crypto portfolios into something other than the blue chips that we were talking about earlier. So that's why we're a bit excited about crypto at the moment, and why we're getting a lot of feedback on this channel and on other platforms to help people to get started into cryptocurrencies. So now's a great time. How do we do that? The way that you get started in crypto is you can open an account, and right now you can get 1,000 free DAC for simply opening an account and verifying it. Secondly, you could buy a bundle and or a DAC pack, but certainly we recommend a bundle for first timers, and then progress into that. If you need more information, then please connect with us. Contact us on this on the Spiritual Events Directory page, or connect with us directly on globalcryptocollege.com, on our Facebook page. Like us there and we'll get in contact, or shoot us an email at support@globalcryptocollege.com. So that's it, guys. That's what we wanted to chat about today. Again, through public demand, people writing in saying, I've heard a little bit, you talk a little bit about crypto in the last, few episodes or over the last month or so, and we really want a bit more information. So here's where you can get it. If you don't know the answers to some of the questions that you have, please look us up, please connect with us. We're more than happy to help, and good luck, and we'll see you again soon.